after this young girl disappeared earlier this month. 15-year-old Michelle Giselle Lopez was last seen leaving downtown Magnets High School. That was October 12th. NBC4's Alex Rozier working this story. He joins us live from the high school right now with the latest. Alex?
And I spoke with Michelle's older sisters who told me they really haven't slept all that much, searching day and night, doing everything they can to ensure Michelle comes home safe. Michelle Giselle Lopez is a sophomore at LA's downtown Magnets High School. And on October 12th, she attended every class. But by the end of the school day, her family knew something was wrong.
My mom was already there picking up my little brother, and they told her that she was no longer there.
Her sisters say she's been missing ever since. Michelle is 5'3", 140 pounds, with brown hair, brown eyes, and a distinct gash on her forehead.
She's not a kid to go out and explore on her own. It's very unlikely that she would not contact even her brother to let her know, like, hey, I'm okay.
This morning, her oldest sister, Jessica, went to LAPD's Hollenbeck police station with hopes detectives start following leads.
We're trying to see if they can help us find her.
Jessica said in recent days a few people thought they saw Michelle, including one person who possibly saw her at Pico in Normandy. Her disappearance is taking a toll.
Emotions of not knowing where she is, if she's being trafficking, like human trafficked, or held against her will, not knowing like where to look. It's draining.
When our interviews were over, the sisters hugged for several minutes.
Mentally and spiritually, physically, we're going through a lot.
They say Michelle is just a girl who loves her dog and dreams of being a veterinarian. But now they just want her home safe. So one day, those dreams can still come true.
We just ask that wherever she is, that whoever has her or whatever, just let her come home, because this is not like my little sister. She would want to be home.
We want to know too, what do we do? Are we doing the right things to keep our kids safe? So first I want to ask you, what's the likelihood of a child in our area facing this kind of scenario where they could be kidnapped like that?
Well, there's always an opportunity, but I would tell you historically, and what we see across each year is that stranger abductions are actually very small. Mm-hmm. It's more family. If you take the parental abductions out, then it's going to be acquaintances, neighbors, friends of the family. That's the larger number of those who are abducted. I'd say on a yearly basis for the FBI, it's about 100.
Wow.
About 100 stranger abductions a year. What's challenging is the fact that they are stranger abductions. Mm-hmm. So as an investigator, the time is of the essence in any abduction or kidnapping, but especially stranger abductions.
Because at that point, you really have no clue where this child has gone. So what's the process like? Where do you start when you go, when you realize a child has been abducted by a stranger?
Well, one of the things that we really work hard at is just that partnership between state, local, and other federal entities. That is key because time is of the essence. So most of these reports come in at the local level, and as soon as they do, that information flows up. Because of our partnerships, it's shared, so we can all do a combined effort, bring in resources, bring in technical resources as well to kind of assist in that. Because of that limited time, those first couple hours are very crucial.
Of the 100 cases on average that may happen each year, do you have an average or an estimate of the recovery?
I don't know the exact numbers, but I'd say they're fairly high because of our methodology of coming in and addressing it earlier. We have a national child abduction response deployment, child abduction rapid deployment team, the FBI does, and we partner with our locals. So that national team is just basically experienced agents who've worked these type of cases over and over again, and they get a kind of a sense of methodology and just having that experience. So we deploy them out early as soon as we get the need, and we'll send them out there. We found that that's been very helpful because you may have a smaller department that gets one of these in 10 years. Yeah. And if you don't have it, you really don't know some of the best practices or some of the new resources that can be applied to it.
I think we were talking earlier about just cases in our generation of growing up. I was a young girl and living in Florida. I'm from Florida when the Adam Walsh case happened, and we still don't know what happened to Adam. Of course, his dad, very popular on the show for missing and exploited children. So it's when I think about that, and I think about Justin Bloxham, it scares me. It scares me. And I think you mentioned earlier something about mobile apps. We're in a generation now, in a time now where everybody has an iPad, a cell phone, even the little ones, and they're downloading these apps that can be hidden. I think just last week, I can't remember the state, there was a little boy, was he 13 or 12? And he was driving a car. He drove the car. How many hours was that?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, a couple hours
to meet a stranger that he met through one of the mobile apps. So I think it's also good to have a conversation with your children at that preteen level to know those apps, you know, to see what they're looking at.
Yes.
Yeah, because it says right here that the most common age group that's really abducted is between 12 and 17, and they're girls. And a lot of those girls are likely on social media. They meet some of these strangers through social media apps. So how do you approach a mom with a child, not necessarily a girl, boys even, to be careful with these apps? What do you say to them?
Well, one thing is in that age group, 12 to 17, it could be abduction, but it also could be trafficking, because that's a crucial age. What happens with the social media and the apps is that it becomes a perfect opportunity for grooming, and the grooming process is crucial, because what happens is you get a bad guy, bad girl, talking to a juvenile, a preteen, teen, and uses those times to build a rapport. And you mentioned Justin Bloxham. In that case, it was, you know, he was under the impression it was age appropriate, so you either disguise who you are or you don't. But in any of those cases, you build rapport, and that rapport could be in 1 hour, it could be 15 days. I mean, there's no time limit. So what I always tell parents, you just got to have that open communication. Because if your child's taking the phone or they have a computer in the room and, you know, mom, son, we have a spat, you send me to my room. Now, obviously at that moment, I don't like my mom and I'm upset with my mom. But if I can get in that room and now I'm on one of my social sites and somebody's saying, your mom doesn't understand you, your mom doesn't know, I do. And so now you see this shift in that rapport and then that false sense of, hey, you know, love or security, and then you tend to that. So you have to have their communication. You have to know what apps they're using. The apps all are created for a positive purpose, but unfortunately, nefarious things can occur from that. So
here are a few tips for your children to be safe. Never talk to strangers. You should not approach just anyone. If you need to help, look for an informed police officer, a parent with children. Stay away from people you don't know. It's important for you to get my permission before going anywhere with anyone. Tell me right away if anyone asks you to keep a secret, makes you feel uncomfortable, or tries to get you to go with them. Pay attention to what people do. You can tell someone is bad just by looking at them.